Okay guys, I'm going to talk to you about the iPhone iOS6 data leak and how it affected me, what my findings were, what caused it for me. It might be something similar to yours, and it's something that happened instantly after changing to iOS 6, and 6.0.1 didn't change it. Thanks. Hi everyone, this is DJRMenace. We've got a lot of reports going around the world for the last few months about iOS 6, whether it's an iPhone 4, 4S, 5, having excess data usage. Now I've got some traffic stats I'm just going to go through. I'm going to actually do a live test to show you one example of a data leak that didn't happen on the 4S before the iOS 6 update and did happen on the exact same app after the iOS 6 update, and the 6.1 didn't make any difference. 6.0.1, sorry, didn't make any difference. So let's have a look. Now, first of all, I'm looking at this app. It's called a Traffic Monitor. It's this one in the bottom left corner there. That's a great app to have running in the background. You can set limits so that once you reach a certain amount in a day, it'll alert you. However, if you have what happened to my wife, where it just between 1 in the morning and 6 in the morning used up like 4 gig, you won't get the alert in time. It alerts you every now and then. It's not that instant, so it's not going to prevent the issue. Turning cell data off is still a workaround, but the best workaround for it. But it will let you figure out what the hell's causing it, or maybe at least get a bit closer to it. iPhone's a lot more limited than Android in telling you which app's doing what, unfortunately. Now, in the daily traffic section here, we've got how much data has been used on 3G here on the right, and Wi-Fi on the left. Let's not worry about Wi-Fi. Anyway, when you click on that, it shows you session by session, like 89 bytes there, 1.7 megabytes there today so far. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up an app which I can see is clearly leaking since the update, and I can't prove that it wasn't leaking before the update, but I can guarantee that I did not get any of these leaks. Vodafone were helpful after months of arguing and telling me exactly which domain the data was coming from that my wife's phone downloaded to via 3G when it should have been on Wi-Fi, by the way, and that helped me pinpoint that it was actually a camera that I had set port forwarding to be able to monitor my baby while we were away. So let me show you that app. I've obviously changed to a decent app since that doesn't screw up. It was an EasyN camera, so I used the EasyN program. I've got it on Wi-Fi, as you can tell at the moment. I'm just going to do a simple test with Wi-Fi first and then on 3G. So I've chosen the internal camera, and there we are. Now it's viewing the camera with my son in his bed. So now if I go back to the traffic monitor, it should show a little bit of a change. There we go. There's a new session up the top. That's interesting. It's already used half a kilobyte of 3G, but that's really negligible. It's more 102 kilobytes of Wi-Fi. That's what you'd expect to see on there, around about 102 kilobytes for a few seconds of video. Let's try on 3G. Now, this is the fun part. Let's go to Wi-Fi and turn that off today. And we're on 3G. So now I'm going to go back to that EasyN app. This time I'm going to choose the external settings so that it connects through port forwarding, through 3G, through our external IP of the home. Here we go. So this is viewing it through 3G. So this should be using 3G data now rather than Wi-Fi. Let's have a look to see what it says on here. Now it's downloaded 1 meg and then 104 kilobytes. We'll see what that is in a sec. Let's see if it's changing. So I'm going to let it run for a while. I'm going to get out. So it's clearly not open, which is fine. Okay, so as you can see, it's actually not using data when it's on standby on 3G, and you think, oh well, that's very thoughtful, that's great. Let's just go back out and go back in just to make sure, have it update. Yep, it's fine, and it's definitely still running. So if I go back into EasyN, it reloads. It wasn't running in the background the whole time, like music streaming in the background or whatever, like other apps. So far so good, right? So I'm just running it for 5 seconds there, or 10 almost. Going back in here, and bang, you got a meg. So that's fine. That's working as intended. Here's where the problem happens. I'm just going to go back out. It's on standby, right? Just go back in just to make sure it's not changing. So it's 1.1 megabytes now. I'm just going to go back out and back in to see that it's not changing. That's just updated. It's a little bit delayed. Still 1.1. One more try just to be safe. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, 1.1. So now, here's where the stupid thing happens. If you go into EasyN and you leave your camera connected like this, the camera that's so it's feeding a video stream at the moment. If you leave this connected on 3G and then you lock the phone from the top, it's actually still running. This is what I've tested. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it undeniable that it's still running. I'm going to actually leave this going for a whole minute or so. You don't really have to wait too long, but you could tell from before, I mean, I had it running for about 5 or 10 seconds and it got a megabyte. So if I let this run for a minute and it says, you know, a megabyte or whatever, it could have been just when it was showing. But if it shows you, which I think it will, 10 or 15 or 5 megabytes or something way over 1 megabyte, then you know that it's actually been using 3G data while it's on the home screen or while it's off. By the way, I'm refreshing the home screen just to see the time. Even if you leave this completely off and you go to sleep and it's next to your bed, same thing happens. You can test this yourself with the EasyN app, assuming they haven't updated it. I didn't update it. I've kept this app unupdated since the 6.0.1 update to iOS so that I could do this video. I've just been a bit slack. Maybe they fixed it since, but I'm mainly doing this as an example, not of how shit EasyN is, because it never did this before. Maybe EasyN with the right code is triggering or having some sort of a bug that IOS6 is vulnerable to. Okay, 12:59, it's at least half a minute or so. This should be enough. Let's go in. We go straight in, you can see the video, it's still running, no loading because it was running in the background the whole time. And this is great for some apps where you want to stream audio and you know it's happening and you want to use your 3G. You should have the option to do this. Maybe there should be an option to switch it off though. Because when you go into settings, you should have an option to switch it off. Because when we go back into the traffic monitor, we've got 10 meg. 10.2 meg has gone in that amount of time, less than a minute. So I know there's a lot of people whinging about, oh, I'm using 30 meg a day. Oh, seriously, 4 gig in like a few hours while we were asleep is what happened. And we were on Wi-Fi, and somehow it was choosing 3G over Wi-Fi. Mine didn't have the same problem. My wife likes to leave it on standby, so you flick it off home screen and it works. And because it never did that before, and it all of a sudden did it on iOS 6, we were caught unaware by it. And iOS 6 choosing 3G and dropping off Wi-Fi probably was the issue as to why we had 3G usage for a few hours instead of Wi-Fi. There was no way to stop it. I love the Android system where you can just go set a limit, like on the Samsung Galaxy Note 2, and don't let me use above this limit and warn me at this limit and all this stuff that you don't need apps for. It's built in. It makes sense. Apps are only given so much authority over an iPhone anyway, so to have it built in the operating system is great. To have Wi-Fi issues eliminated would be great as well. It's just ridiculous. We had to fight for 2 months over the phone before we managed to get all of it back. We had a charge of almost $1,000. I know there's people out there with $2,000 or $3,000. Some people whinging about $100 because they don't charge. Their carrier doesn't charge as much as Vodafone per gigabyte. It's like $250 or something crazy. So for over excess data, and they don't let you go, oh no, we'll put you on another plan. They don't take it as a sales opportunity to say, oh, you're using more data, how about we just charge you $20 extra a month instead of $1,000 right now, and get more usage for you, available, more download bandwidth, more download limit available for you. And they instead scare people away. I mean, you can imagine, I'm in IT and I've got a lot of clients that are over 60 or 70, and if they had this problem on their smartphone, I'm just waiting to get the call, they're just going to go, well, I don't trust smartphones. A phone should be a phone, and I don't want to use data, and all this email stuff that you help me, and I've figured out how to email from my phone and SMS my family, and they're all happy, and Facebooking it, but I don't trust it, so I'm not going to use it. And that's what you're doing, Vodafone. You're pissing people off. You're losing data clients instead of charging them for it just by scaring them away. And you might be making a quick buck now, but I'm sure a lot of these people are going to get their money back when they realize. Okay, so one more quick experiment. I'm just going to do that same thing that caused data to go through 3G while locked on the home screen on EasyN, but with Wi-Fi on, because there's currently Wi-Fi usage for 5 kilowatts. That's just background processors. That's fine. So let's go into EasyN. It's on the internal camera setting. So it loads the video. This is locally through Wi-Fi, local IP address and port open. Web port 80. So this should actually, if I just leave this for, I don't know, 10 seconds or so, it should maybe take about a megabyte. So let's close that about now. Let's go in. I'm going to do the lock screen test in just after this. Yep, so it used about 2.9 meg, there you go. So now I'll just go back in now that it's minimized and on standby. It's not actually using anything. Yep, 2 kilobytes, that's fine. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into EasyN and I'm going to let it load up the internal camera, and I'm going to now lock the screen. So it used maybe about 3 seconds worth of video there, even if it's a meg, you know, let's just leave a buffer of a meg. If it's anything more than 1 megabyte for that amount of video, sorry, I'll just keep the home screen active because I did when I was testing before, just to keep it the same. But if it's anything over a megabyte, it's clearly using data while it's locked on the home screen. Okay, so that should be, I mean, I'll leave it for 30 seconds, I will. Okay, look, that's long enough to see if it's getting over a meg. Let's open it up. It instantly opens to the video, and let's just go straight to the traffic app. 8 meg. There's no way that before and after locking that screen that I would have used 8 meg of video in a few seconds at a time there. So it clearly, whether it's Wi-Fi or it's 3G, it's actually churning data while it's locked on your home screen. So I want you to think of it this way. If you've got an app like this is just one example of it, but instead of being video, let's say it was just streaming audio from a radio station, and you want to be able to lock your phone. I do this all the time, and let music play. That's fine. That is going to churn. Now this does the exact same thing as that. The only problem is there's no indication that you're using your data. It should be something that pops up on the home screen at the top, like a red bar at the top here or something like that, saying video streaming or something like that. But even then, there's no real use for it. It just saves you having to wait for it to load when you reopen it. Now, I would normally just blame EasyN for their app for not doing that, for letting data waste while you're just locked on your phone. You shouldn't have to exit it. You want to just be able to go open your phone and bang, it loads the video, and that's fine. So you can check on, because that might be the only thing you're using your phone for a whole day. But I can't say it's EasyN because the EasyN program did not do this before the iOS6 update, and this is what put us in the same boat as many people out there. So I'm not saying look out for EasyN. I'm saying use Traffic Monitor and set its limits up so that you get warnings, cellular traffic limit, daily limit, monthly limit, so that you get a bit of a warning, you know what's happening. It won't cut you off like the Android, which would be better, but it'll just warn you. And try and actually pinpoint which app's doing it. I mean, start one at a time, see what happens. I thought it might have been emails, I thought it was iCloud. I turned off every setting. Vodafone drove me nuts trying to turn things off, and you're using Facebook too much and all sorts of crap. YouTube, until they did a report on the URLs, and it actually showed the IP address that was the source of most of the traffic, and it was my home IP address, and the only way I could get that much traffic was video streaming. So that's what narrowed it down for me. Don't pay thousands of dollars to Vodafone or to whichever company you're with, by the way, because this is not your fault. iOS6 changes, you use the phone the same way you did, and Vodafone tells you to keep your iOS up to date. Just tell them what's happened. Especially if it's the first time it's ever happened to you, they should be lenient and let you off the hook. Keep arguing the case, to get the telecommunications ombudsman involved if needed, and move to another carrier if they persist. Know by the end of I know that by the end of this contract that I'm on now, I'm going to be going to another carrier, simply because their excess data usage will be reasonable, like a few cents per meg, instead of 20 cents or whatever was it, $250 per gigabyte. It's going to be something like a couple of dollars or $10 even per gigabyte. I'm happy with that. So definitely moving across and going to Android from iOS. We've been using iOS because a lot of my clients have it, I need to support it. I'm going to leave my wife on iOS, she loves it, and I'm going to go on Android, which is a much better system, until Windows 8 gets its shit sorted. Thank you very much. This has been Do It Solutions with another update.